In recent times, there's been a ton of innovation with keyboard switches, especially in the area of silent switches. We now have several really good options to choose from when it comes to silent switches, but unfortunately, the stabilizers haven't really kept up with the silencing trend. We have a few mods that are pretty effective for silencing the downstroke, such as the Band-Aid mod, the electrical tape mod, the hockey stick tape mod, and others. Silicone cushions is another mod that I like. We don't have a really great mod for silencing the upstroke. We have Rama's heat shrink mod, which in my experience doesn't really silence the upstroke very much. And we have the O-ring mod, which I came up with, but it's only really reliable with plate mount stabilizers, and even in that case, sometimes it makes the stabilizer not return very smoothly. So I've got another prototype here I want to show you tonight. Hopefully this will get people thinking and brainstorming, and feel free to experiment with these ideas if you like. So first, here's a comparison. This is a stock Zeal stabilizer. I haven't modified it. So I'll just demonstrate what the top out sounds like without any silencing. Now here's my prototype. Back to the stock one. Prototype. So you can see it's a lot quieter at the top out. So let me show you what I did here. Just move the microphone a little bit out of the way. So this modification is a modification that I did to the housing of the stabilizer. I didn't change the slider of the stabilizer. So this housing has 3 holes drilled strategically into the top where the slider tops out. So if you recall, the Zeal stabilizer sliders, they have, we could say, one big leg on the left side here and then 2 smaller legs on the right side. So I've added silencing cushions to the spots where those 3 different legs will contact the housing on the upstroke. And the way I've done that is I take a 1.5 millimeter drill bit, I'll show here, and I rest it at an angle like this and drill a hole right there on this side all the way through the housing, 1.5 millimeter. And then I do the same thing. I rest it in the corner of the opening and drill into the opposite corner like that, so that I drill through the top. I drill a hole there, and then I drill a hole there. So 3 holes. Then I take this silicone O-ring making material that I ordered from AliExpress. It's silicone, I believe it's 78 diameter, and it's O-ring stock, they call it, and it's 1.5 millimeter diameter. So the diameter of this rubbery stuff is the same diameter as the hole that I drilled. Then I insert this O-ring stock into the hole until it protrudes just slightly into the opening area of the housing where the slider tops out. And you can fine tune how far it protrudes depending on how much cushioning you want. Just be careful, if it protrudes too far, you'll sacrifice some of the travel of your stabilizers. So you want to get it tuned just so that it's just enough to where the slider hits the cushion, but you've still got pretty much the full travel of your stabilizers. once you've got this O-ring stock adjusted, the position the way you like it, then I put a drop of super glue on the outside, and that will hold it in place so that it will stay there and it won't get pushed out of position when you're using the stabilizer. Now the nice thing about this is there's more area in this plastic housing besides where the O-ring is now protruding. So if you're putting a lot of pressure against this area, such as when you're pulling off your keycaps, the O-ring rubber will compress, and then the stress will actually be taken up by the remaining plastic material. So once this O-ring material compresses, I don't know if you can see, but I think you can kind of see on that top one, the O-ring material compresses, but then the slider eventually hits the hard plastic of the housing. So that's probably not going to happen while you're typing, but if you're pulling off your keycaps, for example, it will. And so that's good, because then your sliders are still held securely in place and they're not going to pull out of the housings like what happens with the O-ring mod that I suggested before. So please feel free to experiment with this and share your ideas, and hopefully I'm going to build a keyboard with these as soon as I get time. I'm a little busy right now, but I'm going to do 10 of these. It won't take me too long, and see how it sounds, and then report back.